Hello, hello, and welcome, welcome. Coach Kevin here, and we are going to go ahead and get started. First thing I'd like to do is go share my screen with you. And there are a few things I want to show you guys real quickly. Um, Actually, the first thing I want to do is go here. Let's see if he'll pop up for us. There we go. So the first thing I want to show you is we have a Facebook group that coincides with our meetup. It's called I Want to Be Really Rich, and I do not apologize for it. Same name as the meetup. You can go into Facebook and type into the search, start typing in I want to be really rich, and I do not apologize for it. And it will pop up as an option, and then go ahead and select that you want to join it, and we'd be very happy to have you. Okay. The other way you can find it is at facebook.com/groups/ I want to be really rich. So either way, start typing into the search or type into the very top the actual address, and you will find us. So why would you want to join the group? Excuse me, the group. What's a group? The group. Reason one, if we have any special announcements, we usually pin those to the top that are related to the group. The other thing that we like to do is go ahead and take the recordings. As long as I remember to record the Zoom meeting, I go ahead and get the recordings put here. Why would you want to go into those? Well, let's say today you really enjoy what we're talking about, and maybe you want to go back and review that. You're welcome, obviously, to do that. Maybe you miss a day and you want to go back and catch up on what we were talking about. Because what we do from time to time, I'm not going to scroll all the way down until we find it, I don't think. Anyhow, what we do is we go over some different materials. I like to find materials that I own that I can share with you, or that are possibly done by other people, but that we have access to for free. Most of the books and things I share with you, I actually own the book in paperback and or Kindle. But when I find something that I think would be beneficial, I try and find a version for free so that you guys can go get it and follow along. So speaking of that, we are in a book right now. We started it just a couple days ago, called The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. So the way I found a free copy of it is I went and just typed in The Power of the Subconscious Mind PDF. Now, organically, after the ads, what came up, I think, second on the list is this one. I know by the URL here, the website, you're like, what would that have to do with it? I honestly don't know, but that's where I found it. It was right here at this one. So I went ahead and clicked on it, and immediately it opened up. And guess what? I didn't even have to give my name or email address. So then I went over here and I just chose to download it onto my computer so I'd have it available. So you guys can find your copy exactly the same way. As you can see up here at the very top, the URL was that logo center, and then downloads, power of the subconscious mind, da da da. So why are we actually choosing to go through this material here? The reason that I'm choosing to take you guys through this is because of the things we've already been studying have brought us to a certain point. And we've been talking a lot about the law of attraction. We've been talking a lot about the additional universal laws that apply to attracting money and wealth into our lives in greater amounts. And so now we know, or at least we've gone through, we're aware a bit more about how the universe operates, how we attract things to us. However, our subconscious mind actually can be our greatest friend or our very worst enemy when it comes to receiving what we want in life. If we have programs that are running in our subconscious mind that are in opposition to what it is we really want, our subconscious mind is going to sabotage our efforts. However, if our subconscious mind and the programs that are in there are congruent with what it is that we really want, our subconscious mind is going to become our best friend and absolutely assure that we receive and manifest exactly what it is that we want. So we need to understand how it works so we have better control over what it is that we actually experience in our lives, what we become, what we're able to do, and what we're able to have. And Joseph Murphy is one of the very best teachers on this. He wrote this book quite a while ago, and many people refer to this in relationship to the subconscious mind. And also Joseph Murphy has an understanding of the law of attraction in the yesterday when we were talking, he even referred to the law of attraction. So now, as far as chat goes, I'm going to tell you guys this right now. Here's how we operate for those of you that are brand new with us. I pay zero attention to chat. What I do, though, excuse me, is I like to leave 10 to 15 minutes towards the end of what we're doing to give you guys to share your opinions, your thoughts, your feelings, and also ask your questions. So if you've got something that you want to share, we leave that time there for you to do it. And usually that is one of their favorite parts of what we do each day. So what I'm going to do right now is show you that we are on page 17 of this particular PDF document, the one I just showed you how to go get. You're welcome to go get it, or you can just follow along on the screen. I'm not sure that we're on page 7 of the book. I believe this is also numbered like the book. So it's going to be a lower number than 17, but I'm going to go with what it says here because that's going to be the easiest way for you to come find us really quick if you just got your own copy and you decide you want to follow along. But again, it's on the screen so you can follow along that way. I'm going to go ahead and read it. I will add commentary where I think it's appropriate. I have read this book before. I've read it at least 2 or 3 times, but it's been several years since I've done so. And I just felt a couple days ago as I was meditating and asking for inspiration of what we ought to go into next, that this just was what kept popping up as what would be the best thing for us to do to help you guys progress right now. And that's pretty much based upon those of you that have been with us for a while. If you're brand new, still totally valuable. And even as a work, it stands alone on its own merits. So, all right, here we go. Get a quick sip of water. The differences between conscious, excuse me, and subconscious. You must remember that the conscious and subconscious are not 2 minds. They are merely 2 spheres of activity within one mind. Your conscious mind is the reasoning mind. It is that phase of mind that chooses. For example, you choose your books, your home, and your partner in life. You make all of your decisions with your conscious mind. On the other hand, without any conscious choice on your part, your heart is kept functioning automatically, and the vital functions of digestion, circulation, and breathing are carried out by your subconscious mind through processes independent of your conscious control. Your subconscious mind accepts what is impressed upon it or what you consciously believe. So let me repeat that. Your conscious mind accepts what is impressed upon it or what you consciously believe. And what most people don't think about is that first part. It accepts what is impressed upon it. He didn't say what you impressed upon it. It says what is impressed upon it. So you can choose to impress upon it what you want, or the outside world is going to impress something upon it, and you may not get what you want. It does not reason things out as your conscious mind does, and it does not argue with you controversially. Your subconscious mind is like a bed of soil that accepts any kind of seed, good or bad. Your thoughts are active. They are the seeds. Negative, destructive thoughts continue to work negatively in your subconscious mind. Sooner or later, they will emerge and take shape as an outer experience that corresponds to their content. Remember, your subconscious mind does not engage in proving whether your thoughts are good or bad, true or false. It responds according to the nature of your thoughts or suggestions. For example, if you consciously assume that something is true, even though it may be false, your subconscious mind will accept it as true and proceed to bring about results that must necessarily follow because you consciously assumed it to be true. Psychologists and others have performed countless experiments on people who are in a hypnotic trance. This research shows clearly that the subconscious mind does not make the selections and comparisons that are necessary for a reasoning process. Your subconscious mind will accept any suggestions, however false. Having once accepted any suggestion, it responds according to the nature of the suggestion given. To illustrate how suggestible your subconscious mind is, if a practiced hypnotist suggests to one of her subjects that she is Napoleon Bonaparte, or even a cat or a dog, the subject will act out the pan with imitable accuracy. Her personality becomes changed for the time being. She believes herself to be whatever the operator tells her she is. A skilled hypnotist may suggest to one of its students in the hypnotic state that her back itches, to another that his nose is bleeding, to another that she is a marble statue, to another that she is freezing and the temperature is below zero. Each one will follow out the line of this particular suggestion, totally oblivious to all those surroundings that do not pertain to the hypnotic suggestion. These simple illustrations portray the difference between your conscious reasoning mind and your subconscious mind, which is impersonal, non-selective, and accepts as true whatever your conscious mind believes to be true. Hence, the importance of selecting thoughts, ideas, and premises that bless, heal, inspire, and fill your soul with joy. The terms objective and subjective mind clarified. Your conscious mind, sometimes referred to as your objective mind, because it deals with outward objects. The objective mind is aware of the objective world. The media of observation are your 5 physical senses. Your objective mind is your guide and director in your contact with your environment. You gain knowledge through your 5 senses. Your objective mind learns through observation, experience, and education. As previously pointed out, the greatest function of the objective mind is that of reasoning. Suppose you're on one of hundreds of thousands of tourists who visit the Grand Canyon every year. You would come to the conclusion that it is one of the world's most amazing natural wonders. This conclusion would be based on your observation of its incredible depth, the complex shaping of the rock formations, the beautiful play of colors among the different geological strata. This is the working of your objective mind. Your subconscious mind is often referred to as your subjective mind. Your subjective mind is aware of its environment, but not by means of the physical senses. Your subjective mind perceives by intuition. It is the seat of your emotions and the storehouse of memory. Your subjective mind performs its highest functions when your objective senses are not functioning. In other words, it is that intelligence that makes itself known when the objective mind is suspended or in a sleepy, drowsy state. Your subjective mind sees without the use of the natural organs of vision. It has the capacity of clairvoyance and clairaudience. It can see and hear events that are taking place elsewhere. Your subjective mind can leave your body, travel to distant lands, and bring back information that is often of the most exact and truthful character. Through your subjective mind, you can read the thoughts of others, read the contents of sealed envelopes, or closed books or newspapers. Once we understand the interaction of the objective and the subjective minds, we are in a better position to learn the true art of prayer. The subconscious cannot reason like your conscious mind. The subconscious mind does not have the ability to argue or dispute what it is told. If you give it wrong information, it will accept it as true. It will then work to make the information correct. Let me repeat that to you. Your subconscious mind does not have the ability to argue or dispute what it is told. If you give it wrong information, it will accept it as true. And here's the important part. It will then work to make that information correct. It will bring your suggestions, even those that were false, to pass as conditions, experiences, and events. Everything that has happened to you happened because of thoughts impressed on your subconscious mind through belief. If you have communicated wrong or distorted concepts to your subconscious mind, it is of most urgent importance to correct them. The sure way to do this is by repeatedly giving your subconscious mind constructive, harmonious thoughts. As these are frequently repeated, your subconscious mind accepts them. In this way, you can form new, healthier habits of thought and life. for your subconscious mind is the seat of habit. The habitual thinking of your conscious mind establishes deep grooves in your subconscious mind. If your habitual thoughts are harmonious, peaceful, and constructive, your subconscious mind will respond by creating harmony, peace, and constructive conditions. If you fall prey to fear, worry, and other destructive forms of thinking, the remedy is to recognize the power of your subconscious mind and decree freedom, happiness, and perfect health. Your subconscious mind, being creative and one with your divine source, will then start to create the freedom and happiness you have earnestly decreed. The tremendous power of suggestion. As you can see by what we've already discussed, your conscious mind serves as the watchman at the gate. One of the most crucial functions is to protect your subconscious mind from false impressions. The reason this is so important goes back to one of the basic laws of mind. Your subconscious mind is very sensitive to suggestion. As you know, your subconscious mind does not make comparisons or contrasts. It does not reason and think things out for itself. This latter function belongs to your conscious mind. No, your subconscious mind simply reacts to the impressions given to it by your conscious mind. It does not pick and choose among different courses of action. It merely takes what it is given. Suggestion is a tremendously powerful force. Imagine that you're on board a ship that is rocking a bit from side to side. You approach a timid-looking fellow passenger and say, "Gee, you don't look so hot. Your face is practically green. I'm afraid you're about to be seasick. Can I help you to your cabin?" The passenger turns pale. The suggestion you've just made about seasickness links up with her own fears and forebodings. She lets you escort her down below decks. Once she is there, your negative suggestion, which she accepted, comes true. Different reactions to the same suggestion. It is important to realize that different people will react in different ways to the same suggestion. This is because they have subconscious conditioning or beliefs. Suppose instead of choosing a fellow passenger on the ship, you go up to a member of the crew and say, "Hey, buddy, you don't look so great. Do you think you're about to be seasick?" Depending on the sailor's temperament, he either laughs at your feeble joke or tells you to get lost. Your suggestion had no power over him because the idea of seasickness was associated in his mind with his own immunity from it. Therefore, it called up not fear or worry, but self-confidence. The dictionary will tell you that a suggestion is the act or instance of putting something into one's mind. It is the mental process by which the thought or idea that has been suggested is entertained, accepted, or put into effect. Remember, a suggestion cannot impose itself on the subconscious mind against the will of the conscious mind. Your conscious mind has the power to reject the suggestion. The sailor had no fear of seasickness. He had convinced himself of his immunity, so the negative suggestion had no power to evoke fear. But your fellow passenger was already worried about becoming sick. Therefore, your suggestion had power over her. All of us have our own inner fears, beliefs, opinions. These inner assumptions rule and govern our lives. A suggestion has no power in and of itself. Its power arises from the fact that you accept it mentally. Only at that point do your subconscious powers begin to act according to the nature of the suggestion. How he lost his arm. For many years, I gave a regular series of lectures at the London Truth Forum in Caxton Hall, which I founded a number of years ago. Dr. Evelyn Fleet, the director, told me about a man whose young daughter suffered from both crippling rheumatoid arthritis and the disfiguring and painful skin condition called psoriasis. They tried many treatments, but nothing the doctors did seemed to help. The man was near despair. Over and over, he said to himself and to his friends, "I would give my right arm to see my daughter cured." According to Dr. Fleet, One day, the family was out for a drive. Their car was involved in a head on collision. The father's right arm was torn off at the shoulder. When he came home from the hospital, he discovered that his daughter's arthritis and skin condition had vanished. You must be very careful to give your subconscious mind only those suggestions that heal, bless, elevate, and inspire you in all your ways. Remember, your subconscious mind doesn't understand a joke. It takes you at your word. How autosuggestion banishes fear. The term autosuggestion means suggesting something definite and specific to oneself. Like any tool, wrongly used, it can cause harm, but used properly, it can be extremely helpful. Janet R., who was a talented young singer, or was a talented young singer, she was invited to try out for an important role in an opera production. She desperately wanted to audition, but she was also terribly apprehensive. 3 times before, when she had sung for directors, she had failed miserably. The reason was fear of failure. She had a wonderful voice, but she had been saying to herself, when the time comes for me to sing, I'll sound awful. I'll never get the role. They won't like me. They'll wonder how I have the nerve to even try out. I'll go, but I know it'll be a failure. Her subconscious mind accepted these negative auto-suggestions as a request. It proceeded to manifest them and bring them into her experience. The cause was an involuntary autosuggestion. Her fears had become emotionalized and subjectified thoughts that in turn became her reality. The young singer was able to overcome the force of her negative autosuggestions. She accomplished this by countering them with positive autosuggestion. What she did was this: 3 times a day, she went alone into a quiet room. She sat down comfortably in an armchair, relaxed her body, and closed her eyes. She stilled her mind and body as best she could. Physical inertia favors mental passivity and renders the mind more receptive to suggestion. To counteract the fear suggestion, she repeated to herself, I sing beautifully. I am poised, serene, confident, and calm. At each sitting, she repeated the statement slowly, quietly, and with feeling from 5 to 10 times. She had 3 such sittings during the day and one immediately before going to sleep. After 1 week, she was completely poised and confident. When the fateful day came, she gave a wonderful audition and was cast in the part. How she restored her memory. A woman of 75 had always been proud of her ability to remember. Like everyone, she forgot things now and then, but she paid no attention. However, as she got older, she began to notice these occasions and worry about them. Each time she forgot something, she said to herself, I must be losing my memory because of my age. As a result of this negative autosuggestion, more and more names and events slipped her mind. She was close to despair. Then, fortunately, she realized how she was damaging herself. She resolved to reverse the process. Every time she felt tempted to think, I am losing my memory, she stopped herself. More than that, she deliberately reversed the procedure. Several times a day, she practiced induced positive autosuggestion. She said to herself, from today onward, my memory is improving in every way. I will always remember what I need to know at every moment of time and point of space. The impressions I receive will be clear and definite. I will retain them automatically and easily. Whatever I want to recall will immediately present itself in the correct form in my mind. I am improving rapidly every day. Very soon, my memory will be better than has ever been before. At the end of 3 weeks, her memory was back to normal. How he overcame a nasty temper. I was consulted by a man whose marriage and career were both in serious trouble. Hugh D's problem was his constant irritability and bad temper. He was concerned about himself, but if anyone tried to discuss it with him, he exploded in anger. He constantly told himself that everyone was picking on him and that he had to defend himself against them. To counter this negative autosuggestion, I advised him to use a positive autosuggestion. Several times a day, morning, noon, and night, prior to sleep, he was to repeat to himself, "From now on, I shall grow more good-humored or more good-humored. Joy, happiness, and cheerfulness are now becoming my normal states of mind. Every day, I'm becoming more and more lovable and understanding. I will be a center of cheer and goodwill to all those around me, infecting them with my good spirits. This happy, joyous, and cheerful mood is now becoming my normal, natural state of mind. I am grateful." After a month, his wife and his coworkers remarked on how much easier he was to get along with. Some comments on heterosuggestion. The term heterosuggestion means suggestions from another person. In all ages and in every part of the world, the power of suggestion has played a dominant part in the life and thought of humankind. Political creeds, religious beliefs, and cultural customs all flourish and perpetuate themselves through the power of heterosuggestion. Suggestion can be used as a tool to discipline and control ourselves. However, it can also be used to take control and command over others who've not been taught to understand the laws of mind. In its constructive form, it is wonderful and magnificent. In its negative aspects, it is one of the most destructive of all the response patterns of the mind. Its results can be enduring patterns of misery, failure, suffering, sickness, and disaster. Have you accepted any of these? From the day we are born, we are bombarded with negative suggestions. Not knowing how to counter them, we unconsciously accept them and bring them into being as our experience. Here are some examples of negative suggestions. You can't. You'll never amount to anything. You mustn't. You'll fail. You haven't got a chance. You're all wrong. It's no use. It's not what you know, but who you know. What's the use? Nobody cares. There's no point in trying so hard. You're too old now. Things are getting worse and worse. Life is an endless grind. You just can't win. Watch out, you'll catch a terrible disease. By accepting heterosuggestions of this kind, you collaborate in bringing them to pass. As a child, you were helpless when faced with the suggestions of others who were important to you. You did not know any better. The mind, both conscious and unconscious, was a mystery you did not even wonder about. As an adult, however, you're able to make choices. You can use constructive autosuggestion, which is a reconditioning therapy, to change the impressions made on you in the past. First step is to make yourself aware of the heterosuggestions that are operating on you. Unexamined, they can create behavior patterns that cause failure in your personal and social life. Constructive autosuggestion can release you from the mass of negative verbal conditioning that might otherwise distort your life pattern, making the development of good habits difficult or even impossible. You can counteract negative suggestions. Pick up the paper or turn on the television news. Every day, you hear dozens of stories that could sow the seeds of futility, fear, worry, anxiety, and impending doom. If you accept them and take them in, these thoughts of fear can cause you to lose the will for life. However, once you understand that you do not have to accept them, choices open up for you. You have within you the power to counteract all these destructive ideas by giving your subconscious mind constructive autosuggestions. Check regularly on the negative suggestions that people make to you. You do not have to be at the mercy of destructive heterosuggestion. All of us have suffered from it in our childhood, in our teens, and in adulthood. If you look back, you can easily recall how parents, friends, relatives, teachers, and associates contributed in a campaign of negative suggestions. Study the things said to you. Closely examine their underlying meaning, and you'll discover that many of them were nothing more than a form of propaganda. Its concealed purpose was and is to control you by instilling fear in you. This heterosuggestion process goes on in every home, office, factory, and club. You'll find that many of the suggestions people make, whether they know it or not, are aimed at making you think, feel, and act as they want you to. in ways that are to their advantage, even if they are destructive to you. How suggestion killed a man. A distant relative of mine went to a celebrated crystal gazer in India and asked the woman to read his future. The seer told him that he had a bad heart. She predicted that he would die at the next moon, or the next new moon. My relative was aghast. He called up everyone in his family and told them about the prediction. He met with his lawyer to make sure his will was up to date. When I tried to talk him out of his conviction, he told me that the crystal gazer was known to have amazing occult powers. She could do great good or harm to choose she dealt with. He was convinced of the truth of this. As the new moon approached, he became more and more withdrawn. A month before, this man had been happy, healthy, vigorous, and robust. Now he was an invalid. On the predicted date, he suffered a fatal heart attack. He died not knowing he was the cause of his own death. How many of us have had similar stories and shivered a little at the thought that the world is full of mysterious, uncontrollable forces? Yes, the world is full of forces, but they are neither mysterious nor uncontrollable. My relative killed himself by allowing a powerful suggestion to enter his subconscious mind. He believed in the crystal gazer's power, so he accepted her prediction completely. Let us take another look at what happened. Knowing what we do about the way the subconscious mind works, whatever the conscious reasoning mind of a person believes, the subconscious mind will accept and act upon. My relative was in a suggestible state when he went to see the fortune teller. She gave him a negative suggestion and he accepted it. He became terrified. He constantly ruminated on this conviction that he was going to die at the next new moon. He told everyone about it and he prepared for his end. It was his own fear and expectation of the end, accepted as true by his subconscious mind, that brought about his death. The woman who predicted his death had no more power than the stones and sticks in the field. Her suggestion in itself had no power to create or bring about the end she suggested. If he had known the laws of his mind, he would have completely rejected the negative suggestion and refused to give her words any attention. He could have gone about the business of living with the secure knowledge that he was governed and controlled by his own thoughts and feelings. The prophecy of the seer would have been like a rubber ball thrown at an armored tank. He could have easily neutralized and dissipated her suggestion with no harm to himself. Instead, through lack of awareness and knowledge, he allowed it to kill him. In themselves, the suggestions of others have no power over you. Whatever power they have, they gain because you give it to them through your own thoughts. You have to give your mental consent. You have to entertain and accept the thought. At that point, it becomes your own thought, and your subconscious works to bring it into experience. Remember, you have the capacity to choose. Choose life, choose love, choose health. All right. So we're going to stop with the reading there. Good to see that several more people have joined us since we started. Welcome, welcome. Glad to have all of you here. And what we're going to do now is this is your opportunity to share. This is your opportunity to share your thoughts, share your feelings, share your ahas. If you have had any successes in manifesting more money and wealth in your life, this is the time to share those stories and how it came about. And this is also the opportunity for you to ask questions, either about what it is that we've been studying today, or even anything related to how to manifest more money and wealth in your life. So what you do is you just go ahead and come off of mute and start sharing, and then we'll take you in the order that you do that.
Hi, Kevin.
Hi.
I'm fast on the button here.
Yeah, that's right. Survey says.
So this is so true what we just read. I mean, I've experienced it myself in my own life. I was told at one point that when I was 20 years old, that I had cancer cells in the uterus, and they wanted to, remove everything. And I did not have it removed. My my family doctor, and anyway, went through a lot of different processes. But long story short, the doctor who wanted to operate me told me that sooner or later, when menopause comes about, 50 years old, if I don't have my uterus removed now, then it would come back, and I would have to suffer through that at a later time in my life. And I told him, no, it's never going to happen. It's not going to happen. And I'm way beyond menopause, and it has not happened, and it won't. The same thing with I had a hole in my retina in my right eye, and the surgeon told me, well, it happens to the right eye, will happen to the left eye. And I said, no, it's not going to happen. And it has not happened, and it won't happen. I've seen my grandmother's husband tell her, don't go get the mail because it's slippery outside. You'll break your ankle. Well, it happened. So those auto suggestions and I think it's so powerful and it's so true. But when it comes to applying it to other things in life that we want, it's more difficult to apply, I feel. Even if
It's
you
only,
do
yeah, it's only more difficult because we see it as different than what we already did. Like when you made your own suggestions to yourself about your health that allowed, things to happen the way you wanted them to happen. I'm going to tell a funny story here right now. And it's very recent, but it's very true. And so this is what I told my mom. So I'm not the lightest person in the world right now. Okay. And my mom hadn't seen me in a while. I mean, she knew that I was, bigger than the average person, my height, so to speak. And I don't talk to my mom that much anyway, to be perfectly honest, because of how I feel in our relationship. I won't get into a lot of depth. So she's one of the people I prefer not to spend much time with because of the things that she says and because of her thoughts and opinions. Well, anyhow, I got onto a call with her over Facebook. Actually, my kids did. And I said hi and I walked by. And so she saw me and she saw, in her mind, somebody that has to be unhealthy because, look at what this guy weighs right now. And a couple days later, I got a text from her. And she was basically saying, hey, you know what? I want to, if you're willing to talk about something, I've got a proposition. I'd like to do something to help you become healthy again. Okay, not a good idea because I understand this whole law of attraction. I understand this suggestion thing. So what I did is I messaged her back. I tried to call her, but she didn't answer right then. So I left a voice message that said essentially, hey, look, I know this may be hard for you to believe, but I'm the person in our entire family that actually has been sick the least. And I'm not talking just my house, I'm talking extended, even like brothers, sisters, siblings. I know that may be hard for you to comprehend, but that's because I've programmed that into myself. I mean, I haven't even had a cold or flu or anything in probably the last 7 years because I told myself that I'm healthy. Now, I don't say that I'm in shape in the sense, but I'm healthy. So there's the ability for you. I don't want you worrying about this because your worrying, your thoughts and your feelings can add to the vibration in a negative way. And what we don't realize oftentimes, because I know you're my mom, so you care, that as parents, what we put upon our children and the rest of the family, we actually become the prophet of their life by our own fears and the things that we keep saying. Now, thankfully, I've said over and over to myself about how I remain healthy. Therefore, that's why I probably can be, I don't want to stay this weight forever, but how I can actually be at the weight I'm at and yet not be sick. Okay. And so anyhow, after that, she heard that we had a discussion. And so great, she's going to pay me $500 for every 20 pounds I lose. So that's just another way to receive some money because I had already had the intention to do something about that anyway. But anyhow, but I'm sharing with you, we do this to people. So think about yourself, but think about what you say to another human being. Think about what you've been telling your children. Think about what you tell your friends. Think about what you tell your colleagues at church or at work or whatever interactions you have. You don't have the right to say anything negative to that person about them because you don't know if they're going to accept it or not. You don't know what their thing is. Like, the person that worked in the hospital, and you tell that person they're going to get sick, they just don't get sick. Doctors hang out at hospitals more than any of us, and yet usually doctors and nurses that I've been aware of actually they get sick less often than anybody else. It's only if there's some kind of fear that's allowed into their subconscious that they could potentially catch what it is that they're helping other people not have, right? It's all related to that type of thing. So the auto suggestion, is really important. So we talked about difficult or not. Let me go back to that. It's only because we say it is. It's because it's only difficult. It wasn't difficult to say it when we had a belief about it. We were just reinforcing that belief. Coming back to what you said, Francine.
Mhm.
The reason it's difficult now for something else is because there's a belief in opposition in there.
Mm.
But we can choose consciously to accept a new belief, and then we can use auto-suggestion, like he kept talking about different people doing multiple times throughout the day. Auto-suggestion, not just words, but apply that with visualization and apply that with your form of meditation. Apply that. Notice how I sit in the chair quietly. The more still you are when you're doing this kind of stuff, and the less that's going on around you, just the more easily it enters the subconscious mind, because it doesn't have a lot of other signals flying at it. You're only focused on putting one thing in there.
Mhm.
So take that morning, take that evening, like I talked about, and then find additional times throughout the day to tell yourself what it is you want. But don't just say a string of words. Use it as if I say, hey, I don't want anybody right now. Now listen, everybody, listen. I'm going to share something with you, and I don't want any of you to think about this right now. I don't want anybody to think about or see or imagine a purple elephant. All right. None of you, listen to me. Do not imagine a purple elephant. I don't want you to see a purple elephant right now. No matter what I tell you, you are not supposed to see a purple elephant.
Okay.
Now, when I said those words, did the word purple elephant go across your mind? Now it is, because I'm saying that. Did the words purple elephant come across your mind? No. It's just a string of words. But purple elephant gave you a visualization, and I even told you not to. I just showed you how we're doing what we're, when we're saying, I don't want this, I don't want that. That's what you're doing to yourself. You're putting a purple elephant across the screen of your mind, and you're making it impossible to see a brown one. Now you can see a brown one, because I said, see a brown elephant. I don't want you to see a brown elephant. I don't want you to see a brown elephant. I don't want a brown elephant. I don't want a brown elephant in my life. I don't want to see a brown elephant. Now you're going to see a brown elephant. Because that's how we function. So we've been doing this to ourselves, our own auto suggestions, and we've allowed other suggestions in. The way to reprogram ourselves is to choose what it is we want to suggest, and then utilize, other things to help, like visualization, to choose and feel good about it instead of bad, and then allow that to develop to where your subconscious mind goes, oh, okay, it looks to me like, Francine is supposed to have this because she's adamant that this is the way it's supposed to be. And she's not telling me the opposite of what she wants. She's telling me what she wants. Because I don't care. I don't hear opposite. I don't hear good, bad, right, or wrong. I just hear, and it's actually, I don't hear it. I see the same thing. You've impressed this vision on me because that's been your vision. So that's now what's impressed upon me. So now I'm going to help you impress on the universe and God the same thought and feeling, so it can now happen. And I'm going to help make sure it happens. So it's only difficult when we tell ourselves it is, but it's what we do every day to ourselves anyway. We just need to do it on purpose. The difficulty is the feeling of being in opposition to something that's already there. But what it's in opposition to does, again, not good, bad, right, or wrong. It's just different than the idea that's currently implanted there. So if you want a different result, you're going to have to put a different thought in there. And the quickest way to do this, a lot of people want to do too many of them, is to just pick one and work on it, get it subconscious, pick the next one, just like we didn't learn to tie our shoe probably the same day we were learning the times tables. You know what I mean? When we talked about that the other day. So let's master something, or at least get it implanted strong enough into the subconscious mind that it's now our friend instead of our enemy. It's now working to help us get what we want instead of fighting against us to keep us from what we want.
That's a good point, to do one at a time. That's a very good point.
Yeah.
Hey, Kevin, I have a pretty cool story that kind of goes in line with this. So I put out into the universe that I wanted some assistance kind of understanding the law of attraction and get a better grasp on that, and wanted someone or something to come into my life that, you know, would help me with that. So I was flying out to Pensacola to go see my parents, and I was sitting next to this lady who I struck up a conversation with and talked to her the entire flight. And by the end of it, she pulled out of her bag this book. It's The Self-Taught Solution by Shad Helmstetter, and wrote in it, "Landon, enjoy the contents of this message. Your life is about to change," and then signed it. And I was like, that's incredible, you know, and you know, I read it, and it goes along with everything you said. It has like pre-written self-talk guides to, you know, what you can say to yourself. But it was just really cool. You know, it's awesome to see that kind of stuff manifest in your life, you know, whatever you ask for and believe is going to come. So yeah,
That's
just
awesome.
a fun little story.
Totally awesome. You know, when I was contemplating what to study next, this or, you know, other things, there was one other that came to my mind, which not that book that you showed me. I haven't seen that one, but thank you for sharing that. Yeah, you can type it in the chat if you want or something.
Okay.
But I have another book that actually gives a lot of different types of forms of affirmations for different types of things. And that was what I thought about sharing also, because the questions I get asked frequently are, okay, what do I say to myself? What do I say? What are my suggestions? But I felt like what we should do right now is get to really understand what is going on. Because now that you're aware of it, it's like, right? Because when you spit something out at somebody else now, it's going to be difficult to not think, did I just say something I shouldn't have? Right? Or did I say something that uplifted this person, or I did say something that tore them down? That's what you might want to ask yourself after your interactions with people in your life. Walk away from whatever happened and celebrate the good. And if you threw out negative at the person, understand that you can do anything you want, but it's going to come back and bite you. So at some point, so don't do that. Only put out good towards other people. And if you can't do it at the moment, figure out a way to get out of there.
Yeah, it's also
go somewhere else in your head, at least.
It's really cool to do that to people that you just kind of pass through life, you know, and you only have like a small interaction with them, but to just throw like a little piece of just appreciation or love towards them, you know, and help them kind of think about it. Cause I know that that's happened to me before, where like I've come across somebody and they've said something that I thought about, and I was like, wow. And then that kind of changed my feeling and like my own thoughts throughout the day. So it's cool to, you know, be able to have that power to have that effect on people, but, you know, you have to respect it and use it in a good way.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I think it's awesome.
Okay. Any other questions or comments right now? You guys are awesome. Come on. I know you guys want more stuff.
Okay. I had to do it. First of all, Landon, thank you, because you've helped all of us today in sharing that little nugget, right? Thank you. Appreciate it. It feels good. Let's talk about how good it feels. Anyway, so just what you had said, I realized the error in my way. I spoke negatively about someone and towards somebody. It was a business situation. It was a competitive situation. So I get all the wrong I did. Do I reach out to this person and do some goodness now? Do I let that go? What do you think about that? I'm curious about, do we go back to
do what your heart's telling you to do about it.
Okay.
What do you feel? Is it something you can go back and say something about, and could it make a difference, or would it cause more harm?
I think anything could make a difference. I believe that when we speak from a good place, we can always make a difference. So I have that faith and belief that I can do it. And And maybe because I've been thinking about it and I've actually done research on this person, and they sort of live a little bit in a dark world. And maybe that's why it was so negative, because I felt that I felt that at a level I didn't even know myself.
Uh-huh.
They're kind of very, I don't know how to say it, but their pictures and their own motivation is kind of very dark.
Okay.
So, you know, I don't know how much I can pierce that, but I certainly would like to do it for myself. So just wanted your thoughts on that.
Yeah. So if at the very least, tell yourself good things about the person, and tell yourself that they're in the process of unfolding and they're on their journey of learning and growth and everything else. And, you know, wish them the very best in all their success. And what you don't want to do again either is put out fear towards another person, right? You know, be all worried about what it is that they're doing. One, that's not going to help you, but it's also really not going to do any good for them either. So if you're not currently able to put something good out towards someone, then don't put anything out. And then, you know, think about Sandy Gallagher, who is Bob Proctor's business partner. She was dealing with a situation of her own where things were kind of stuck. And the suggestion that Bob Proctor gave her was, what I want you to do every day is think of 3 people that are hard to deal with in your life. 3 people that are hard to deal with in your life, and put out vibrations, put out intentions towards them that are positive and happy and joyful. And Sandy said, you know, that was tough for a little bit, you know, but I made the commitment to do it every single day. 3 people in my life that I would, you know, that are been difficult to deal with, and put out positives in relationship to them. And most of these things don't take forever, you know, to actually see something. Usually within hours, days, weeks, you're going to notice, if nothing else, you'll notice a shift in your life. But it's interesting how we can positively impact another person. We're not manipulating them. We have to really feel good about them. If we're just trying to put something out there because we hope they'll do something for us, God, the universe, and your subconscious, they know what's going on. It's not going to be that effective. So you actually have to think of good things about that person. You know, what is it? What are some good things they've done in their life? What is it that they brought to the world that can be positive? What is it about them that you like? You know, if you weren't in the middle of whatever you're in the middle of with them, you know, there's got to be something out there, you know. And obviously in relationships that have been close and intimate for us, those are harder, but there was a reason we became in that relationship in the first place. That doesn't mean we need to remember it so we go back to that person all the time. But there was something that was going on that was good in the first place, or we wouldn't have had interaction with them. So, yeah. Well,
Kevin, I have a quick question.
okay.
Kind of a weird question, probably won't pertain to anyone here, but I have substance abuse issues. And, you know, when I go to meetings, you know, the first thing we say is, you know, they admit that you're an addict. Is it healthy for me to begin to start changing that thinking?
So, yeah, I've been to meetings like that too. I've had issues at one point too. I would say, so you're talking specifically like a 12-step meeting, right? Where you admit to yourself and everybody else that you're powerless over whatever it is, right? Is that kind of what you're referring to?
Yeah.
Okay, so you say, for instance, you introduce yourself and you say, I am a, whatever it is you got to, right? I'm an addict, I'm an alcoholic, I'm a, whatever it is. And I will tell you this, there is a reinforcement there by saying that. But if you're saying, and you could say, hey, my name is, and I'm in recovery I'm in the process of recovering from, that it means that you're actually recovering. Because yeah, I've known people and I've helped people that have had addictions, and I've watched, you know, kind of what happens. And yes, there'll be a point with that person where they're sober for a while or they're abstinent, but where their progression is stopped because they're, you know, that's that always being an addict kind of thing that people think. The toughest thing probably for you to do, but the thing that will be the most powerful for you to do, if you can remember what it was like, how long ago, you look like you're about 50 right now, so I'm just kidding. How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
25.
Okay, so the particular substance that you're dealing with right now, how long ago was it when it became an issue?
About 2 years ago.
Okay, and I'm going to say good for you in the sense it's not like all your life. Can you remember at all what it felt like when it wasn't an issue, meaning when you weren't doing that thing?
Yeah, I was very productive, confident, had a good balance of openness, security.
Okay. So what I would recommend, and I'm not a therapist, okay, but what I would recommend is take the aspects of your life that were pretty awesome prior to that and go visualize yourself as that person again. Because you can remember it because it actually is you. And you need to see yourself doing the things you used to do that you love doing. Acting in the way that you used to act that was productive, things that made you happy, right? You probably turned to this out of curiosity or whatever, and then it hooked you because there's things in life, emotions that we have that we don't like dealing with. That's usually how we get hooked on it. It numbs us, it feels great or whatever. So now we're dealing with this thing. Well, go back to feeling good without it in your mind and in your meditations and in your feelings. Take time to be again that person, and go ahead and move yourself though forward to say hey, I'm now that person again. The way I live my life is the way I used to in all aspects that I loved.
Great. Thank you so much for that.
Can't promise exactly, but it'd be curious, because an addiction is you got multiple things. You got a subconscious program going on, and you've also got some chemical reactions in the brain going on, right? That want to suck you back in, and you don't want to go through withdrawal because it doesn't feel good. And then, the whole thing about it. But we're only going to be what we can see ourselves as being. So if we can see ourselves as living a life that we enjoy, that is without need of doing other things to numb ourselves, then that's better. And you know what? Maybe just feel the thing that you're feeling for now. Whatever, I know it's difficult, but the next time you're trying to numb yourself because you don't like something you're feeling, just allow yourself to feel it and go, hey, this isn't who I am. It's just a feeling. It's just a thought. When a thought comes to you, that's not you producing that thought necessarily. That's a program throwing out something at you. So that's why when I met you the other day, 2 days ago or whatever it was, and I saw you, I had this feeling that I had a pretty happy-go-lucky person in front of me who is maybe missing out on some of it right now. And that's due to the substance or whatever. I get it, right? But be that person and don't be too tough on yourself about this process. Just understand that, whatever it is that you're feeling that makes you want to go do that, understand again, it's not who you are. It's just the thought or a feeling. And if you can actually go move to see yourself as the person, the way you want to be, and enjoy life in your imagination, the way you want to enjoy it, that's just a better way to go about it. I don't know if it'll naturally just fall away or not. Again, I'm not a therapist, so anything I'm telling you right now, I promise nothing, but I'm just sharing with you what's coming to me as thoughts and feelings that I ought to share with you.
Great. Thanks so much for the feedback, Kevin.
Yeah, you're welcome. Absolutely. Any other questions or comments before we go?
Okay. Hi, you guys. Hi, Kevin. It's Lillian.
Yeah, hi.
Hey.
Good to see you.
Same here. Okay, so I On Monday, I shared with some of the group. I don't think that you were on because you were having the technical difficulties. So I was actually going to closing that afternoon. And so up until then, I was thinking positive, it's going to come through, everything's going to be fine. And everything kind of went upside down.
Okay.
And I had to hire a lawyer.
Okay.
And it wasn't supposed to have any lawyers to it. It was supposed to be just a straight. My ex-husband was refinancing the house.
Okay.
He was just going to give me cash, and that was going to be it. So today we're still going back and forth, and I've been trying to like meditate, take deep breaths. I've been holding my tongue, not saying anything with him on like texts and emails, because I'm trying to not have those feelings come up and not say them, but also keep positive that everything's going to work out, however it's going to work out. But I was just wondering, what else can I do, or should I be doing, or what am I not doing correctly? I don't know.
So what I don't know 100%, we can repeat an affirmation to ourselves for sure, right? And if you've watched the movie The Secret, as a for instance, have you seen it?
No.
Okay. I got homework for you.
Okay.
Do you have Netflix or access to Netflix?
Netflix,
Okay.
yeah.
Type in The Secret.
Okay.
Just The Secret. There's a movie that's going to pop up there. It'll look like red that has like a stamp into it, like back in the day when you used to take envelopes and have wax and then you seal it.
Oh, okay.
So that's what the cover is going to kind of look like. So you know that that's the correct movie. It's roughly an hour and a half.
Okay.
My recommendation to you is go find an hour and a half to watch it
Okay.
sooner than later, because the sooner you watch it, it's probably going to give you some ahas. Like, oh, okay, I could do. In other words, you'll be able to self-diagnose a little bit what you're thinking or not thinking, instead of me trying to say, hey, here's what it is. I think
Okay.
you will pick up. It's not perfect in the sense of it'll explain everything about how the law of attraction works, but it is a very good overview. And what's really cool about it is it has real people in it. It's a documentary, but the way that the Rhonda Byrne created it, it's entertaining, it's visual, it's auditory. It brings in all the senses of feeling pretty much that we have. So it'll probably have an impact on you today when you watch it. You'll be like,
Okay.
oh, wow. I think you'll get that. And it'll raise your vibration anyway, because you'll just watch something that's really good and I think you're going to feel a little bit lighter. I don't know exactly what to tell you to do differently. I mean, I could say, well, here's what I think. When you were putting out the thoughts and everything, you were saying them as affirmations, but your subconscious wasn't really believing them. That's what I would say at the time. And that's mostly because you probably didn't have enough time. And it was this coming at you right now. It's kind of like Esther Hicks talks about the person that always, and you're not asking that, but it's the person that wants to ask her the question all the time. Okay, so what would I do if I was in an airplane and and the engine stopped and I had to jump out and I had no parachute? How would I land safely? What would I tell myself? You know what I mean? It's just happening like that. And Esther's goes, well, prepare to die. It's not because you don't have the ability to do something about it, but because you put yourself in such an emotional state that the only thing you're putting out is total fear, right? You're only putting out total loss, fear, desperation, anxiety, all those feelings. And if you can't change those feelings, there's nothing you are going to be able to do. So the idea is to do things ahead of time is the best that you can when you want an outcome to happen, right? Things will come. You can change certain things like that, but usually a belief that we have, it has to be a really strong emotional impact to change something like that. Most everything else is going to change through repetition of thought. And eventually your subconscious mind will succumb to it. At first, it's going to tell you that's bull. It maybe not in word. You'll have these feelings, these thoughts when you're trying to say I'm rich and you're not, or you're trying to say I'm happy in this relationship and you're like, I'm miserable, just at the very beginning, understand that, you know what, it's not necessarily going to get accepted right away. There are
Okay.
things that we can do though to have good outcomes. What I would recommend though that you do, if you can't come up with, if the affirmation's not coming up and working for you, then the other thing that I always tell somebody to do is then go think of something that does make you happy, even if it has nothing to do with this thing you're trying to have a different outcome for. Because you can't be in a happy state and in that moment bring something bad to yourself. Only good to me, it'll start the flow, even if you're kind of backed up, so to speak, right?
Mhm.
It'll start the flow of good coming towards you. So you can always think about something that makes you happy. And the other thing is, I imagine, I'm going to ask you this question. I probably already know the answer, but what have you done in the last 7 days intentionally to go have fun?
I can't say that I've done anything. Yeah,
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 I'm not surprised. I'm not, because you have this other thing that was weighing on your mind. So you
yes,
haven't gone out and had fun.
right. Because we've been talking, we've been negotiating, we've been doing promissory notes, we've been saying stuff back and forth, and so I've been researching and trying to understand, and so yes, so all those emotions that you said were exactly what I'm feeling, and like a heaviness, um, because what was supposed to happen, I was nervous about to making sure that everything was going to go right, but I was like, okay, everything's just going to work out because this is what we've discussed. We're at the very end of all this. But then on Monday, I felt like there was a switcheroo happening, and I was like, is it the title company? Is it him? What's going on? Because that's not what was supposed to happen. And so now, like I said, I just find myself like trying to stay positive and like it's all going to work out, but then at the same time I feel like underneath I can't shake that off because I'm feeling anxious and nervous and like, oh my god, if we have to keep being attached because of this house, if this stuff doesn't go through, and just like other
Okay.
feelings that I'm trying to.
Yeah. Okay. That's helpful. That makes more sense to me too. What I think is two things. One, go watch The Secret today. Matter of fact, if you don't have somewhere you're going right when we get off, go watch it now.
Okay.
The other thing that I would do is, in this, The Secret will probably help you give yourself permission to do it, is you need to go do something you like to do on purpose with the intention to have a good time. And the sooner you
Okay.
do it, the better, whatever it happens to be.
Okay, I will. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right.
Kevin,
Yes.
since you're counselor today, uh, there is something I want to manifest. I want to make a purchase. I am $700 to $800 short.
Okay.
I want to manifest the rest of this money. And there is a time limit and it's reasonably short.
Okay. So first of all, what is it that you want? Let's start with there. That's the most important place to start.
You want me to tell you? You want me to?
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Unless
$700.
Huh?
$800.
No, not the
Oh.
money. What's the thing it's going to buy?
A status upgrade.
Status upgrade for your MLM?
Yeah.
Like you make X amount of purchase or sale and you
Right.
get the next pin?
Right.
Something to
Well,
that effect?
well, you have different statuses that you reach.
Yeah.
I'm trying to reach that status, and we're being given an opportunity to double our money.
Uh-huh.
So I want to upgrade to that status.
Mm-hmm.
I have part of the money, but I need $800 more.
What's the
And
date?
I'd like the date.
What's the
It's
date you got to have it by?
December 31st, but I'd like to do it a little sooner.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. Okay. Don't focus on trying to get the money.
Okay.
Focus on you have, if you come up with $800, let's go this way. If you came up with that $800 now and you could make that purchase and you gain this new status,
Mhm.
After spending that $800, what do you get back in return?
I'm not
Besides
understanding.
the status, well, you said you get more money because you're at a new status, right?
Well, the income level goes up just a bit.
Okay.
But the immediate exchange would be product.
No, I know you're buying product. I get that for 800. And maybe, is this one of those, like you get double the amount of product?
Yeah,
Is that what you're saying because of the holiday?
yeah.
Okay, okay. This is totally 100% normal for any company to do.
Yeah.
Do it now or else. It's not,
But I
it's supposed to
do,
be good, right?
I do want to do it right now, though.
Yeah, yeah, I
You know,
get it.
it's something I want to do.
Right. I still, having heard you ask different things over different times that we've had, discussions here on Zoom,
Say that again?
I'm just thinking to myself, I'm getting to know you a little bit better each time I hear
Mhm.
you, because I'm able to get some different impressions.
Mhm.
If you want to make this as kind of a small thing to go manifest to help build your belief, then that's cool. But you've got to visualize yourself with an end result. So what is the ultimate? The ultimate outcome isn't you came up with $800.
Right.
The ultimate outcome isn't probably that you got more products sitting in your house. So what is it that you actually get as a true benefit for this happening? What is the result you are trying to actually receive for doing this?
My real motivation
Yeah.
is, like you said, I love the product, but that isn't the motivation. The motivation is actually my end goal to start moving toward my end goal in 2021,
Okay, which is?
and just start, the priming the pump or whatever. My end goal for next year, I'd like to reach at least the lowest of the highest ranks, and I don't know them off the top of my
That's
head.
okay. I don't care what they're called.
But
and again, it's now December. We are now December 15th. We're almost at the end of 2021, and you've already accomplished what it was.
Mhm.
So what is it that you've received as a result of this accomplishment? What has changed for you? What about your life is different? What has happened to you that is now different a year from now?
Okay. Paying off debt, of course. Working on my own master plan, helping my family, moving toward those things. But my immediate goal is to succeed in the company and to reach that level where I'm making the income and also bringing other people in and helping them do the same thing. As you know, I went to the GoPro thing, and one of the things they said to do was to give yourself an kind of an emancipation date where you're no longer dependent on your uplines to drive you. So that's part of it for me. I don't know much about this kind of business. I've been a sole proprietor, not a team leader.
Okay.
And I'd like to learn those type of skills, to be a team leader, to be able to help other people, to raise myself and help other people do it too.
Okay.
That's my real motivation, actually. And the rest are just side benefits.
All right. So you help clarify what you really want. See, some things will happen and just will naturally happen as you do this. The thing that I would put my focus on if I were you would be not necessarily the end of this year.
Mhm.
Okay. What you need to get clear about is seeing yourself helping these people. And what I mean is not the process, but like, I am going across, and assume that COVID is not stopping this from happening any longer. you're going to go across stage at the regional or national convention, and they're going to hand you the pin or the medal or whatever for having reached the level you're wanting to reach. And you're celebrating receiving that, and you're making your, your comment, kind of like the person that, won the Academy Award or whatever, right? You get your 15 seconds of fame or whatever, but you've hit a high enough level to what you're talking about, right? Where they probably would let you actually hold the mic versus stick it in your face. So you actually get 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes to tell your story, right? So I would picture yourself up in front of people telling the story of how you got to where you are now, as if it already happened, and you're receiving the award and you're giving your speech. And whoever it is that you would be talking to normally in your life that are currently friends right now, you would actually have those conversations in your imagination of, hey, guess what? I did this. And they're like, yeah, they're hugging you and they're caring about you. Kind of the same thing I said the other day, when we were talking, I'm not sure if he's still on here or not. Yeah, there you are. It's Koki, right? When we were talking about him seeing, your emotional, positive emotion is what's going to imprint on formless substance and God. That is what's going to imprint the thing that you want. So if you can create a strong, positive emotion around what it is that you want, you're going to be more successful in pressing that on your subconscious mind more quickly. And once your subconscious mind is in formation with you and you're both flying in the same direction, it will actually say, you know what, I'm on autopilot. If you want to go back and get a drink, you need to go to the restroom, you want to sit back and watch a movie, I'm flying the plane now. You don't have to. You can come up and check things occasionally if you want. Don't mess with the instruments because I'm going to get us there. Okay. Just trust me on that one. But enjoy the flight. You're now on the plane, but I'm now trying to pilot this thing versus you're trying to pilot a plane that you've never piloted before. That's why it all feels all funky to you. I haven't done any of this before. What if I crashed it? And what if, too many what ifs, right? And too many judgments about it. Just let that happen. But that's what I want to share with everybody here is you've got to pick something. I could say go for the end of the year and give yourself some kind of celebration. You could do that. Say, hey, you met your goal of whatever the smaller thing is. And here's who you would be celebrating it with. I like to create celebrations and parties and fun as if you're doing it because you already received what it is that you wanted. But I don't just like doing it because, oh, that's Kevin's fun favorite thing, right? I like doing it because I look back at my history of manifesting things that I want. And it's the focus on the thing has never been truly what got it for me.
Yeah.
It was actually it was the benefit, not the thing. So I've got to choose the benefits that I want in my life. I've got to choose the outcomes that I would like to see happen and quit focusing so much on the thing that I'm trying to do.
Okay.
Because then I get the inspiration, revelation, and intuition of knowing what to do with my channel, my vehicle, or I get open to receiving through additional channels.
Okay. Thank you, Kevin.
You're welcome. All righty, everybody. It has been a pleasure and an honor to spend some time with you today. And I look forward to seeing everybody on Monday. You guys have an amazing weekend.
You
Thanks
too.
a lot, Kevin. You too.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Buddy. Bye.
Bye-bye.